Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Phillips, for that warm introduction. And thank you all for being here today. To the admitted students in the room, congratulations. Seriously, take a breath, let it sink in. You did it. You got in to the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Let's give yourselves a round of applause for that. That's a huge deal. Celebrate that, savor that, because this moment, the moment where you realize all your hard work paid off, it only happens once. Now, you get to ask the big question, is this the place for me? I remember asking that exact question just 4 years ago, standing on Bascom Hill for the first time, staring up at the Abraham Lincoln statue and thinking, I am way too small for this place. I looked around and saw buildings that looked like castles, students that seemed so confident, and I thought, how am I supposed to find my way in all of this? UW felt enormous, the kind of place where you could walk across campus, pass 1,000 people, and still feel a little invisible. But what I've learned since then, and what I hope to share with you today, is this. You belong here long before you believe it. Because at Wisconsin, you don't just find your place, you create it. Let me tell you a quick story. During my first semester, I was absolutely terrified of going to office hours. I told myself things like, I don't want to waste the professor's time, or everyone else probably already knows what they're doing, I'll look ridiculous. But one day, I finally worked up the nerve to go. I walked in, I sat down, I awkwardly introduced myself, and asked a question I barely understood and tried not to sweat through my hoodie. That 5-minute conversation, it changed everything. Because I realized something important. Professors aren't here to gatekeep knowledge. They're here to share it. They're human, they care, and when you show up, they show up too. Since then, I've been mentored in 4 different research labs, presented at national conferences, published in a scientific journal, and even received the Hilldale Fellowship for my work on Parkinson's disease. But none of that would have happened if I hadn't taken that first uncomfortable step. So much of college is like that, choosing to walk into the room even when you feel small. But your college experience won't just be defined by academics. It's about growing into your whole self, figuring out who you are, what matters to you, and who you want to become. At UW, I've danced in cultural shows with people who became like family. I've led fundraisers for mental health awareness, volunteered at hospitals and crisis lines, studied abroad in Tanzania, and somehow survived physics without crying in public. Okay, maybe one tear, but it stayed in my eye. I've also had hard moments. Late nights in the library where nothing made sense, where I stared at a blank screen and questioned whether I was good enough to be here. I've had imposter syndrome, I've stumbled, I've failed. But here's what's amazing about this place. I've never once walked alone. This campus is full of people who will walk with you, peers, mentors, staff, and sometimes total strangers who become your people. I've had friends who stayed up with me while I rewrote an essay for the 5th time, advisors who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, professors who remembered my name in a 200-person class and asked how I was doing, not just academically, but as a person. And over time, that feeling of being too small for this place slowly faded. Because what I realized is, the scale of this university isn't something to fear, it's something to use. UW-Madison is big, yes, but that means big opportunity, big ideas, big energy, big space to grow. So if you're sitting here wondering if you'll fit in or if you'll be ready, Let me tell you what I wish someone had told me. You don't have to show up as a finished product. You just have to show up as you. Be curious, be bold, be open, try something weird. Madison has a cheese club. Take a class that scares you. Go to the student org fair and sign up for more clubs than you can possibly attend, like I did my freshman year. Eat way too much at the dining halls because apparently they have dessert every day. Walk around the lake just because. Start a conversation with someone who looks just as lost as you feel. And when things feel hard, and trust me, they will, remember this. Being challenged isn't a sign that you don't belong. It's a sign that you're growing. Growth doesn't always feel graceful. Sometimes it looks like making mistakes, changing your mind, or falling on your face in front of 300 people in lecture hall. Yes, that happened. No, we're not talking about it. But all of those moments, every single one, is part of becoming the person that you're meant to be. To the families in the room, thank you. I want to say that again. Thank you. Your support, your sacrifices, your belief in us, it matters more than we can say. We may not always express it, parents, you know this very well, especially when we're stressed or sleep deprived, but we are deeply, deeply grateful. And to the admitted students, this is more than the start of college. It's the start of a chapter where you get to rewrite your story in your own words, where you don't have to follow a script. You get to explore, you get to question, to fail, to grow, and become. So whether you choose UW-Madison or somewhere else, I hope you choose a place where you can thrive, where you feel seen, where you're not afraid to take up space and try again. But if that place happens to be Wisconsin, well, I'll just say this. Welcome home. Thank you, and on Wisconsin.